Okay, I think we are live. There's 19 people already. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody. Hello. I see there's 19 people. If you please let me know that yes, I can hear you and yes, I can see you. And also, if the music in the background is too loud, it's my little baby blanket. I need to have a little bit of music in the background. Hello, everyone. Please let me know that you can hear me okay and you can see me. The video is a bit glitchy, okay, but you can hear, okay. I'm noticing I have everything is closed down. I've shut down everything. All my applications are closed and my internet is at its highest speed. So I am going to contribute this to YouTube. So we'll see how it goes. There was a bit of a delay a little bit earlier, but it's for the earth signs. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm a little bit nervous. And I'm nervous because I don't know what we're going to talk about. It's normally I'm a little bit more prepared, but I'm actually sitting here and I know I have my team with me, but like I'm in suspense. I mean, I kind of sort of know what it is, but I feel like I'm not prepared. And I was asking why do I need to feel this right when I'm live? And they're saying the purpose of that is to help me deal with the idea of control. So right now, I literally feel that I am not in control because I don't know what I'm going to say. And they're asking me to trust them. They're asking me to trust them. And I know many of you can relate with the idea of feeling like you need to have control, like you need to be prepared, but you're not, and you're standing in front of something and it's happening and it feels uncomfortable. You guys trust me. Thank you. I trust you. I trust them. I just don't, this little thing that I'm learning, I have still little trust issues with myself. And the trust is mostly, and this is a message for all of you, the trust is mostly not because I don't trust the energy I work with, because they've proven themselves for 20 years as far as I'm concerned. But it's almost like I don't trust myself that I can handle this energy. And I've said this before. I feel like I'm having a deja vu moment and I feel like I've said this before. And they're saying, yes, I've said this before. So if you heard me say this before and you're hearing it again, then there is a message in it for you. And I feel like, and so they're opening it up. I feel we're going to talk a lot about control, loss of control, fear of not having control, fear of being control. And we're also going to talk about authenticity. And when I talk about the idea of control, I'm very aware of this little feeling that is kind of hovering around my chest and my throat. And the feeling is there to protect me. Okay, so I am explaining what I feel and my awareness of the feeling because chances are many of you feel the same thing when it comes to control, because we humans like to have control, right? And this feeling I would call is, it feels a little bit like an anxiety. So if you are feeling an anxiety right now, chances are, because I'm talking about control, you might have some anxiety come up. But the purpose of this is for me to walk through it live to help you in your situations whenever you're feeling like you're not having control. We all are moving in a forward moving direction. There's really no such thing as going backwards because life doesn't go backwards. Life always moves forwards. And there's obviously a lot of changes happening globally and with Libra rising and Sagittarius, not so much to prepare to come and why we might be experiencing certain feelings or feeling like you don't have control. And the idea being is that even then, sometimes we feel like we are not in control of ourselves. So let's see where this message goes. For those of you who are the YouTube subscribe button, it tells people out there that there is some worthwhile information to listen to. For those of you who are new, who are coming back, thank you from the bottom. It is because of you that I do this and I constantly involve. authentic. And the idea behind being able to be authentic is that the safer we feel inside, don't react to the world as. Before I looking at what does authentic mean, I kind of sort of have an idea, but I wanted to have the Webster's definition. Before I read, I tuned in to kind of get a feel of what does it mean to them, my team, to be authentic. And the very first thing that comes through is to be authentic is to be your true nature. It's your true nature, whatever that means, whatever your true nature is. And that requires us to be in tune with ourselves in order to know what our true nature is. So it looks like part of being authentic is the need to know our own truth before we can express it. And they were giving me an example. So we obviously need to hear it. The example was two people saying exactly the same thing to exactly the same audience. One person is very authentic. It comes from their body. And one person is, which message do you feel, even though it is exactly the same, is going to have a further reach with respect to how many people it touches? I'm sure some of you will say the authentic person, and that is what I got. And it has to do with energy. It has to do with energy. I'm just tuning in. It's buffering a lot. I know I don't have anything open. I'm really sorry. I don't have anything open. Hopefully it's going to get a little bit better. Change playback quality to 144. I don't think I can do that right now. I don't think I can do that right now. I think we're going to have to just do our best. We're going to have to do our best. Start. I could restart, but I feel like I'm going to lose part of the message. Hang on, it's trying to give me something. Okay, now it looks like it's a little bit better. Is it doable? I'm going to speak slower so that the message doesn't get lost in translation. You know what I'm going to do? Keep going. Okay. On our end, that's watching. Okay. It's okay. So some of you are saying it's fine. So I'm just going to trust you that I'm going to trust you and I'm going to trust the universe. So on top of not knowing what subject I was going to talk about, this is thrown in. And I guess it's for me to learn how to manage in stressful situations. And at the end of the day, I can only do what I can do. I can't fix the internet. I have the best internet money can buy. And it is what it is. So let's just go with the flow. Oh, yes. Okay. So they're reminding me, remember the idea of control. I right now feel like I'm not able to control things. And that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. So how many of you can identify with the idea that when you feel like you are not in control, things are a little bit uncomfortable? And chances are you want to hide, you want to bulge. Part of me says, I'm going to just shut this down. But this bigger part of me, this voice that works with me says, you can do this. You know you can do this. So this is a message to every single one of you, particularly starting in the month of August, going forward, because this is going to go way beyond August. Energy is very powerful. I talked about this energy in every single of the elements. Very powerful energy. Many of you have commented that you can feel it. So I'm glad I'm not alone in this. Otherwise, I could think I was crazy. But anyway, if something comes up for you over the next little while where you are starting to feel like you have no control or you are losing control, the message is, remember, you can do this. And I am pretty sure it talks about some big changes. So it sounds like quite a few of you are embarking on something new. As a matter of fact, I will show you the card that depicts this message. Promise of a new future. So this is what many of you are facing, whether it's August, this year, next year, 2 years from now, whatever it is, starting today, you are building something new. You are on a way to a new future. And I think if we take it out of context, or if we take it within the context of shift of energy, yes, we're all moving to a new future because we're all moving into new vibration. Okay. So this is a bit of a spoiler. That's kind of the last card I wanted you to show. Okay. So for those of you who would like to be part of our private Facebook page, there's a link down below. We are a community of over 5,000 members where we share ideas, share stories, and basically support one another in a close-knit community. And whatever you post is private. That's according to Facebook. It's a private forum. So if you would like to be part of the private forum, and there are things that I will do there that I don't do on YouTube, by all means, we would love to have you there. So the link is down below. Also, in addition, I was guided to do daily messages, daily channeled messages on Instagram. I have an Instagram. If you want to see the daily messages I put out there, they're almost daily, at least 5 times a week, I think. They're very short, but they're very punchy, and I think you might find something very interesting there. Is there anything I want to say about anything before we move on? They always say this: remember to have fun. Remember to have fun. Don't overcomplicate things. So when I'm getting all stressed out and feeling like I don't know what I'm going to talk about, I'm no longer having fun. I'm no longer having fun. And the message is, remember to have fun. The very reason why I do this in the first place, because it brings me pleasure. So when I focus on these other things, it takes me away from the reason why I do this. And when I do this from this, thank you. When I do this from the space of authenticity, where I'm not worried what's going to happen or what are people going to think or judgments, whatever. When I am in my authentic self, I am a clear channel, which also means I can be a clear guide. So for you, the message is, the more you stress, the less you allow the real you to come out. That makes sense. That makes sense. Because worry and fear are not rooted in safety. Worry and fear is the opposite of safety. And what we talked about before is that in order for us to be authentic, or more authentic to ourselves and to the world, it's the prerequisite is almost, we must first feel safe or safer. So when we are worried, when we are stressed, when we are trying to compare ourselves, it sounds like, according to my team, we're getting further and further away from our most authentic self. Because the authentic self has no judgment, apparently. And you know what? I'll buy that. I'll buy that. When I'm being very authentic, there's no judgments. There's just isness. There's just being authentic. I'm not doing authentic. I'm being authentic. So I got to ask the question, why so much emphasis on being authentic? Because many of us have a big job to do, apparently. And this job comes with a lot of responsibilities. So every one of you will have a different idea what that is, okay? And the responsibility is, be true to your nature. Because when you are true to your nature, you show up fully authentic and you shine your light, okay? What happens when you see light amidst dark? Your eyes go directly to the light. So the idea here is that when you are more authentic, you get more noticed. But you're not being authentic to get noticed. You're being authentic to be yourself, because it's who you are. So what I see here is that the authenticity piece is very much about us shining our own light. Now that makes perfect sense. The more we shine our own light, the more we are in our true authentic nature, the more light we bring to the world. Now that makes perfect sense. Thank you. That makes perfect sense. If you are listening to this, chances are very, 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 very high that you would be called a light worker, light bearer, light warrior. You're basically someone who is interested in the idea of higher consciousness, which is light. And many of you are here to bring forth awareness. And I'm just recognizing, oh shit, I'm talking about myself. Okay, I guess that makes sense. So it's obviously important for me to be authentic, not because I want your approval, but because if I'm not being authentic, then I'm not being myself. And if I'm not being myself, then I'm pretending. And if I am pretending, then it's just, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. Certainly by what they tell me, if I'm not authentic, if I'm not true to myself, I will not reach as many people as I potentially could or would like to. And I would like to reach, they would like to reach as many people as they possibly can. So my team would like to reach as many of you as we possibly can. And the reason is very simple. Why? So that you can shine. So that you can shine. What does it mean to shine? To shine means to be visible. What does it mean to be visible? To show yourself, to be authentic. So sounds like quite a few are moving into this space of being more true to yourself and therefore showing up more authentically into the world. And because of that, you have a far reach in terms of how you can affect person or people in a positive way. Remember, you are light. When you remember that you are light, at the end of the day, I always say, my mantra before I die is going to be known for, you're not your body, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotion, you're so much more than that, okay? As a matter of fact, make this practice a daily ritual where you say every single morning, good morning, universe, I'm not my body, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my feelings, I am so much more than that. So when you happen to have a feeling that you're feeling out of control, just remember, you're not that feeling. You're not that feeling. You're so much more than that feeling. And what I found is that literally visualizing yourself bigger than the feeling, whatever feeling that's uncomfortable, more often than not reduces the feeling's intensity and eventually it subsides, okay? I think I've suggested this in another video, and I've seen people commented saying they tried it and it works wonders. I know it works wonders because I've worked with it for 20 years. It's one of the tools that I use in my sessions. So, being authentic, letting people see you, control. Okay, what is the energy that is supporting Earth signs for the month of August? And remember, just because I say August, it doesn't mean it's going to be cut off September 1st. This is going to continue. These energies are longer term. Nonetheless, we are talking about August. So we have the energy of Gaia. Okay. It's the number 10. Let me just see if I can get it without 2 and 8. Oops, here we go. Okay. I can read to you what it says. But the moment I saw this card, what I got was the word unity, becoming united. There's a lot of blue, right? A lot of blue, which to me is a color of expression, but also color of very high frequency healing. And as I'm saying this, I'm also understanding that To express yourself authentically is very healing. Now, how about that? It's as if to say authenticity heals. I never thought about it that way. Because, of course, it makes perfect sense. Because being authentic means, more or less, that you're aligned. If you're not aligned, you can't be authentic, because if you're not aligned, you don't know who you are. So authenticity and alignment go hand in hand. Very interesting. So let me just read this to you. The frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as we are to our great mother and to the universe that birthed us all. To me, it just screams unity. Now, again, my head comes in because I have Libra in my chart, and it makes sense to me. That's exactly where we are moving into. We are moving into higher dimensional frequencies, which are more about unity, more about love, more about living from the heart than just from the head. That makes perfect sense. For example, when we are having feelings of not being in control, we are not being in the heart, we are being in the head, right? We are being in the head. So this is the energy that supports our growth. If you are a earth sign for the next little while, okay? I'm asking, how does it support us? So you're telling me it's supporting us. How does it support us? It helps put things in perspective. So this energy helps us put things in perspective. Now, I talk about perspective all the time because my job, really, if I could call it that, which is crazy, but my job, my function, my desire, my desire, my passion is to help you realize that you are not your thoughts, you're not your body, you're not your feelings, you're so much more than that. And that is perspective. That is a perspective. And by shifting and changing perspective, we change how we see things. What happens when we change how we see things? All of a sudden, they appear different, right? Wayne Dyer said this, and I'm not going to use the exact words, but something to the effect: when you shift how you look at things, the thing you are looking at will begin to change. Something of that to that effect. So we are moving into higher frequency, which is much more unified whole. It's more of a unified field. And things like rejections and things like that apparently stand no chance. So if you have any challenges with respect to you rejecting yourself or feeling afraid of being rejected, which most people have, right? Nobody likes to be rejected. It doesn't. Nobody says, "Hey, can I have $10 worth of rejection?" It's not how it works, right? Nonetheless, it happens because life happens. Sometimes we get rejected, and nobody means us to be rejected. It just sometimes that happens. But when we fear rejection, we hold ourselves back, which means if we hold ourselves back, we cannot be fully authentic. Okay? So authenticity, thank you, apparently it also means not to be afraid of judgments. Judgments are simply opinions. Everyone is entitled to have an opinion or many opinions. Just because someone has an opinion about you doesn't make you less or unworthy or this or that. No, their opinion is their opinion. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. You're just acting as a reflection, right? So if you're afraid of public opinions, if you healer or healer type, or a light bearer or a light worker, and you are afraid of coming out and being your authentic self, because you are afraid of what are people going to say. That is going to hold you back, and it will not allow you to be as authentic as you could possibly be, which means you will not live your life as authentically as possible. Again, what is authentic? It's being more of being your true nature. Being your true nature. Being your true nature means being aligned or more aligned. What needs to be addressed? Align your universe. What is out of alignment? Okay. What I get here just by the colors alone, oops, is the color red and red. Is it red? It's actually more orangey than red. And there's some yellow, but the red to me represents fear, and the blue to me, which is I'm picking up a lot of blue, represents speaking. So for many of you, this is about you having some fears around speaking, whether it's publicly speaking, whether it's speaking because you have something important to say and you're afraid of judgment, whether it's about speaking your truth because you've kept your mouth shut for far too long and it's causing you problems. Whatever it is, if you have not been expressing your true nature up until this point, then you not have been in your full alignment. So our job this month is to recognize what is out of alignment. For example, if I am afraid of not having control, what is within me that's out of alignment? Well, the first thing that comes to me is perhaps not feeling safe, because we then exert control and that makes us feel safer. Okay? So the idea isn't to be more controlling. The idea is to cultivate more inner safety. Okay? If you feel safe inside, if you feel aligned, if you are more or less being authentic, there should be no reason why you have fears around control or not having control. Because when you are aligned and when you are authentic, you begin to understand your true power. You begin to understand your true power. You begin to understand just how much power you really have that's available. Okay? Now, nobody's saying that you have to erase your fears. It's not about that. It's not about erasing a fear. Fear is very important. Fear is actually very necessary. It's about understanding your fears. Where does the fear come from? What is this fear telling me about me or the world? What story is being played out in my mind that makes me feel so? Right? And what ends up happening is you begin to look at the construct of your thoughts. In other words, how you think, why you think, and where do your thoughts come from? What basement, what belief system do your thoughts come from? Okay. If you have fears around rejection, perhaps the rejection is coming from a belief that you are not good enough. And naturally, if you don't feel good enough, you will fear rejection. Okay. So the idea isn't to control everything where you get no rejection, because that's never going to happen. You can't control everything. The idea here is, how do you feel more secure within yourself? What do you need to feel more secure, to feel more safe, to feel more okay? Because people will judge you. And it's interesting that I'm heavily talking about this judgment. So I get a sense that quite a few of you, us, I'm going to include myself, have this thing around judgment. Now, it also dawns on me that, of course, if you are the healer type, light worker, light bearer, generally speaking, in my experience, we come with a lot of fears around judgments. And that's generally, from my experience, again, is because we've been punished for speaking out, for telling the truth, for being our authentic self, for certain beliefs. And we dragged all that karma into this lifetime in order to work through it. So karmically speaking, there's an opportunity here to shed some pretty heavy weight. So if you're carrying around some weight from your past that has to do with rejection, which, by the way, is, I believe it's second chakra, not feeling part of community, not feeling part of like you belong. If you've been bullied when you were young, I have, chances are it has affected you. It would have been impossible for you not to be affected. And maybe you carry still some of your old wounds. Maybe that part of you needs a little bit of attention. Maybe that little part of you is the part of you that continually wants to hide. Okay? And remember, if we are hiding, we can't fully be our authentic selves. And the goal is to be more authentic with ourselves, first and foremost. I'm saying, what does it mean to be authentic with ourselves? Stop telling yourself lies. That's one. Always tell yourself the truth. And it's remarkable how many times we give ourselves some BS story to make something okay. Because it's harder to look at the truth, because it's often uncomfortable. And the ego doesn't like looking at things because it comes from a place of judgment. So it judges. And who wants to feel judged? Right? The Galactic Healer card is actually quite interesting. And the reason why I find it interesting is because majority of you who are listening to this have a healer in you. There is a healer. For some of you, it's hiding. For some of you, it's open. For some of you, it's starting to be open. Now, when I say healer, it doesn't mean you quit your, construction job, if that's what it is, and you go into healing. You could, but it doesn't mean that necessarily. It just means there is a healer in you. There's a healer in you. So perhaps for some of you, it's as simple as look into some healing things, whatever that means to you. The idea of healer, being a healer, is coming up. According to what I've heard from my team, we're all healers. And I've said that before many times. We're all healers. We don't all believe that. Some of us don't feel worthy of it, like I didn't. But we're all healers. We all manipulate energy all day long. And when I say manipulate, I don't mean it in a negative way. We all move energy around to accomplish what we want. And we don't, most of the time, we're not even aware of it. Okay? So if you consider yourself a healer, or would like to consider yourself a healer, first ask yourself a question. What does a healer do? What does a healer do? In my understanding, a healer, the purpose of a healer is to help bring about balance. Because healing is return to balance. Okay. So if you are a healer or want to be a healer, the first order, The first thing on the agenda is to ask yourself, what is out of balance in my life? What is out of balance in me? I'm going to use the rejection example again. If you are fearful of rejection, then there is something that's out of balance. Okay. Being fearful of rejection is a sign that something is out of balance. Okay. And I keep harping on this word rejection for some reason. I know it's one of my hot buttons for sure. And like I said, most people don't like rejection. But there's quite a few number of you who either need to deal with it or need to bring it up and deal with it or acknowledge it, whatever it is. In other words, if you have some old wounds around rejection, there is no point in hiding it. There's no point in hiding it. Because that fear is not going to allow you to be fully in your own skin. It's not going to allow you to be fully out there. Because fear of rejection has everything to do with feeling up with safety. Sense of belonging. Okay. Dark Night of the Soul. This card keeps showing up not only in my private sessions, but also in videos that I'm recording, including the dailies, I believe. And what I received from this message is that we are still moving through what is called Dark Night of the Soul. And when I asked my team what that means, basically what I was told, what I was made aware of is that it has to do with a sense of identity. In other words, who am I? Who am I? So we are all shifting and changing. That's not a surprise. And some of you may feel slightly lethargic, where you don't know whether you're coming or going. And actually, as a matter of fact, thank you for reminding me. It could be why you may have certain feelings of not having control. Because being in the space of not knowing who you are can make one feel like they're not in control. However, what's being impressed upon me is that it is temporary. It's a necessary part of the process of growth and change, but it's temporary. It's very temporary. So if you are having moments of doubt, if you are having fear of losing control, if you are having an anxiety, use the example that I gave at the very beginning, where you see this feeling and you see yourself bigger than the feeling, and you contain the feeling. In other words, the feeling is not you. Take some charge out of the feeling, okay? It helps to regulate your emotions. And interestingly, that helps you stay more in control, ironically, right? More in control. Where you can manage those fears, it allows you to stay, you can still have the feelings, but you are more in control, ironically enough. Okay? The card between two worlds basically supports the idea of Dark Night of the Soul. And all this is saying is, we're in transitions. Okay? We're in transitions. Some of you may not know if you're coming or going. Some of you may not know where you're going. Okay? And that's okay. Again, the dominant colors are yellow and orange, which is second and third chakra. Second chakra, all about trust, all about feeling safe, protected, part of community, which supports the solar plexus, which is about expression, right? Expressing the self into the reality. So if you have feelings of if you have fears of rejection, for example, you will hold yourself back. The power center, your solar plexus, you will hold back. And you will not be living fully. Okay? So this is just a bit of an FYI. We're still kind of moving through these waters where we haven't landed anywhere in particular. And that may make us feel slightly, well, maybe slightly out of control. And here's the reason why. We're going through spiritual evolution. Okay? We're all getting readied. We're being readied. We are readying ourselves for something bigger, for something more. Okay. Whenever I see this card, to me, it almost feels like this person is standing in front of a crowd. Okay. That's what it feels like to me. Some of you may see it differently. But the person is still a little bit in the shadows. So for some of you, the message is you're coming out of shadows. For some of you, the message is you're ready to be seen. For some of you, the message is you're ready. Go for it. Okay? And the light here to me represents being fully supported by the universe. Okay? These birds signify freedom to me. Okay? Taking flight, freedom. Some of you this has to do with being famous. So some of you out there are going to be known for something, are going to be famous. So if you are on the road of being famous, then be your true authentic self, because that's really going to take you places. Okay? At the end of the day, it's all about enlightenment. This is really what it's all about. What is enlightenment? It's to make something visible that was not visible before. It's like taking a layer off and seeing something that was not visible before. To enlighten, to be enlightened. It's to widen perception. It's to widen our awareness. Okay? When I saw the beaver and the bee, the moment I saw those two, I heard, get out of your own way. That is the message I got from this. If you see something different from it, by all means, you can interpret your own, absolutely. But what I got right away was, get out of your own way. Okay? Get out of your own way. So very interesting. This is flowing very differently than the last live I did. But again, I always tell my team that I want to learn something different, so they are true to their word. Okay, let's move on with the individual cards. How are we doing on time? So let's start with Taurus. What is the message for the sign of Taurus? It's interesting because what I see is a turtle, which we had a turtle. But the reason for me seeing this turtle is to let me know that we are safe. You are safe. You are safe. If you are getting ready to put yourself out there, if you are getting ready to come out and meet the world or let the world see you, the message is you are safe. Now, of course, I'm not talking about running across the street when there is a whole bunch of cars moving around and saying you're safe. Of course, I'm not talking about that, right? Everybody knows that, but just in case somebody is confused. So the message is you are safe. Remember, when we feel safe, we allow ourselves to be more authentic. When we are more authentic, we are more true to ourselves. And that ultimately, at the end of the day, is really what matters. Okay? When I did the water signs, none of the cards came out. I was just giving messages while shuffling. So we'll see what happens. So for Taurus, there is the other message I'm seeing is give and take. Financially speaking, there is money coming in and money going out. There is no holding back. So for some of you, the message is there is flow. Perhaps you are the one that's putting yourself out there and they're saying to you, there is finances supporting you so that you don't hold back. There is money coming in and money going out. And for earth signs, that's very important. I mean, for any sign, if you really think about it, it's very important. But for an earth sign, it's very important. Okay? And what I'm being shown is the sun. As we know, or as most of you know, I think, the sun is probably one of the most positive cards of a tarot, from a tarot. And incidentally, to me, it also symbolizes enlightenment because sun illuminates. And it's a very positive feeling. So again, if you are working on something, if you are readying yourself and putting yourself out there, not only are you safe, not only will you be supported financially, but it feels very, very positive. So if this is you, congratulations. Whether it's now, whether it's a month from now, whether it's a year from now, we're all moving in new directions. Some of these things may not make sense to you right now, but they will make sense to you in the month of October, for example. Okay. Is there anything for a Taurus? Okay. And some of you Taurians are approaching a crossroad where you need to choose or decide, or will be choosing or deciding, which way do I go forward? So there seems to be a change of plan. And the change of plan, it feels like it's up to you. It feels like you are coming up to a fork in the road, and you are needing to choose or decide where you're going to go next. And I feel it has to do a lot with work for many of you, but for some of you, it will be something else, relationship or just something else. But it's a definite fork in the road. And it feels for some of you like the way you've been going, it's for some reason, it's you can't, it's either there's no point in going this way, could keep going this way. It's like there's almost, it's like flat, or it's just it's the end of the road and it's time for change. Okay. If you are the one changing, be confident in your abilities. Be confident in your abilities, whether you're a healer, whether you're a plumber, whether you are whatever you pick, a lawyer. Be confident in your abilities. Okay. Anything else for a sign of Taurus? No, I'm being asked to move on. So here again, I'm not using cards, but I have to get used to, well, I don't have to. I'm getting used to not using cards because I don't need them. Clearly, I don't need them, but they're my baby blanket a little bit. Maybe they make me feel a little bit more in control. Who knows? All right, so where are we going next? We're going to sign of Virgo. Let me just change my cards here. Okay, so for the sign of Virgo, if you're a sign of Virgo, you are either moving out or you are closing a door behind you, which means you are moving out of something you are in. And this seems to be very physical. This, whatever this is, it's either a job, a relationship, a set of circumstances. But for some of you, it looks like you're the last one out. So maybe you're closing something down. Maybe you're closing your business. Maybe you're closing your business because you're moving on to something better and bigger. Or maybe that's the change and you are shifting direction. But whatever this is, there seems to be a sense of resolve with it. And it's like, I'm done. For some of you, this may represent you vacating premises. You're selling your house, or you're selling your apartment, or you're moving out. But it feels like it's like you're closing the door and you're not coming back. So there's some kind of permanency here, some kind of conclusion if you're a Virgo. Okay. For many of you, this has to do with a private life. So it could be a relationship, it could be something outside of work. And for others of you, this could be work. For some of you, this could be, like I said, real estate. Okay. For some of you, it's just the business you are in, you're going to choose to be no longer, and you're changing. Maybe the type of business you are in is the projection is kind of not great. So you're deciding to cut your losses and move on to something else. Okay. If that is the case, I'm being asked to say that this is a good time to change direction. This is a really good time to change direction, but don't do anything out of haste. Now, of course, if it's a job, we need money and all that kind of stuff. But if you can, don't do anything out of haste, because whatever it is that you are ending, whatever is finishing, there's a permanency around it. So let's say you decide to quit a job, and then 2 weeks later you say, oh, boss, sorry, I didn't want to quit. The job might not be there for you anymore. So whatever it is, don't rush into anything, because once you do it, that's it. Okay. Is there anything else for the sign of Virgo? I also feel there is a certain element of luck for you Virgos. It's like something unexpected. The universe gives you something unexpected. It's completely like almost random. And it's because it's so random and unexpected, you don't know what to do with it, but there's this excitement with it. So I can't even imagine how that can appear. Obviously, it could be pretty much anything, but there's an element of luck with it. Luck. There's an element of luck. Okay. I don't feel it's lottery, so don't think that I'm saying that you're going to win a lottery and you should go and spend all your money. That's not, wouldn't be a wise thing. I don't work that way. Okay. But there is a certain element of luck. For some of you, you're marking your spot. You're marking your spot. That's how I'm being asked to say it. It's like, let me just tune into it. It's you're marking a spot. It's like you make what is it that I want to? It's like you find your space, you find your place. Sorry for the noise. You find your place. It's like perhaps it's this something new that you are starting, and finally when you start at something new, like, yes, this is exactly what I've always wanted. And maybe that's the luck. The universe is going to hand you something and you're going to run with it, and at the end of the day you realize this is exactly what I wanted. And it was impromptu, which means it wasn't expected. So those are always beautiful surprise Virgos. Also, for some of you, the color white is very important. So if you are going for a job interview, or if you are in a situation where you're trying to impress somebody, so obviously always be authentic, but wear white. Wear white. There's something about wearing white that is, well, for one, I feel it's peaceful. Don't wear any loud colors. Something about white. So, take it or leave it. If that applies to you, try it out. See how you feel. Is there anything else for Virgos? You're no longer on a hook. You are no longer on a hook. So if you feel like you've been on a hook for something, or you've been on a hook, the message is you're no longer on a hook, which means if you're stuck, there's a chance for you to release yourself from whatever the stuckness is. And each one of you will have a different situation, obviously. It may not apply to all of you. Okay, and now I'm moving on to the sign of Capricorn. Oh, actually, cards did come up for you. Great. So for a sign of Capricorn, wow. We have Two of Cups. Some of you will be happy to hear this. Okay? Because it represents commitment. It may represent commitment with another person. It may represent commitment with as romantic. It may represent a non-romantic type of commitment. Anything that is emotionally fulfilling, and it's not just you. So you may be committing yourself to a project. You commit yourself to another job. You may commit yourself to certainly another person. There's something that is coming into your life that's very fulfilling, but the word is commitment. Okay, so it could be anything. You could commit to, a career that you never thought you could do, and the universe gave you this incredible gift, and you said, what the heck, let me try, and you realize that's the best thing ever. And from now on, you're committed because it's so totally fulfilling. Okay, so that's one. Ace of Swords. What this is telling me is that you might have some concerns about this commitment. Okay. I don't necessarily feel there are concerns, but you may have some concerns. It feels like whatever this represents for you, you might be questioning it a lot, or not kind of feeling, maybe you're not feeling safe. Perhaps there's a commitment coming to you, but you're still not feeling safe within you. And because of that, you're kind of questioning, you're holding yourself back. Okay? There's some sort of feeling of unsureness about some sort of a relationship. So for some of you, there may be a relationship that's coming, and your job is just to really tune into it. Is this the right relationship for me? Or am I following an old trail? Am I following the same pattern? That's what's coming through as well. Okay? Because it's in a place of wands, this is going to be either a romantic relationship or in a kind of like career, where something about career. Because this is telling me that it's connected to your passion. Okay? And look at this. Ace of Cups in reverse. Okay? So if you're a Capricorn, something is beginning, but something is ending at the same time. Okay? To me, this represents emotional release. Okay? This represents to me emotional release. Letting something go. Emotionally letting go of something you have been holding on to. You are releasing. You are saying no more, thank you. Perhaps it's a pattern within relationships. Perhaps one of your patterns is control. Wouldn't be totally uncommon, right? Okay. But overall, it feels really good. I'm very much focusing on this card here. Very much focusing on the commitment. Okay. What I'm actually hearing is the idea of lack of control. Perhaps some of you Capricorns do suffer with, challenges around control. Maybe needing control, maybe not having had control in the past. Perhaps you were in a relationship before where you didn't have control, where someone had control over you, and now you're meeting someone and you're having these thoughts, you're not sure because you've lost trust. Okay? Perhaps that's what it is for you. Okay? I don't sense there's anything wrong with this, but you might be questioning it. And that's okay. And that's okay. Listen to your intuition. Okay? What I also got the message, if you are going to be entering into any kind of a commitment, any kind of a partnership, romantic or otherwise, what I get, the general feeling that I get, that it's safe. This commitment could be to a job, to a career. It's safe and there is growth in it. So if you are starting something new, it doesn't have to be in August, anywhere between August and the end of the year. If you're starting something new, the message I get, the feeling I get is that not only is it safe, but there's also growth in there. So if you are starting a new career, you're safe and there is growth in it. If you are starting a new relationship with a person, looks like you're safe. Of course, don't do anything stupid, but you're safe and there is growth in it. So it feels really, really good. And I actually feel very, very settled within myself when I talk about this commitment for you guys, Capricorns. Okay? And for some of you, August is actually going to be a big month in terms of satisfaction. So something is going to transpire in the month of August where you're going to feel really satisfied. Now, who doesn't like to hear that, right? All right, guys, I think that's all I have. Is there anything else? I just heard you did well. Well, considering that I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about, I think that was not too bad. Thank you so much, all of you who have donated. I was seeing little things going up and down. How are we doing? Did any of this make sense? Is this making sense? If it isn't making sense, you'll have to check in a few weeks and see how it makes sense with you. Every single one of you, Kalani, Wanda, Mika, MT, and sorry, I'm probably mispronouncing names, Alice, Georgia, Jeray, Falcon, Circe, Jeray, Kalani again, Plant C64, all of you, thank you so, Sarah, Kristalina, every one of you, thank you so much for joining. these live shows are interesting. Sometimes I love them. Sometimes I'm not sure how I feel about them. I'm having an interesting relationship with the lives, but I also know lives is what I'm going to do more of going forward. And that's actually one of the announcements I will be making on my private Facebook page in the next few weeks. Well, in terms of where I'm going with my work and how I'm going to reach more people. And I will be doing live shows, a lot more interactive live shows. So if you would like to know more about that, and if you're not a part of the group yet, click the link button below and it'll take you there. Listen, guys, thank you so much once again. I hope you have a fantastic August, and I'll see you in one of the weekly pulses or the daily pulses on my Instagram. Thank you again so much. Much love to you. And thank you for all of you who have donated now and anytime. Thank you so much. My heart goes out to you, and much love. See you soon. Bye-bye.